Hey, it's Karen Beach, and it's time for another episode of the 21st Century Christian. And today, let's just say, because I love alliteration, let's just say today it's all about Eminem. We can talk about military a little bit, but mostly we're talking about music because I'm talking to musician and songwriter Jon Steele about his journey into discovering his passion for music, recording music. He took a little bypass into the military. We might touch on that. I love to talk to artists because I think revealing your art, working in your art, is a great way to live the life that God has chosen for you. Because not everybody has that musical or artistic or otherwise creative talent. But if you have that, you need to use it. And I want to talk about that using your skills. And we're going to be back in a minute and talk to Jon very quickly. Not very quickly. I'm going to go through my sponsorship very quickly. And then we'll come back and we will talk to Jon because I think you'll be interested in what he has to say. This podcast episode is brought to you by Concepts and Clarity. Right now, we're selling 3 courses that help make the Bible more accessible, make it more lively, and make it endearing. My favorite course out of the 3 is all about those sheep. It sounds like a crazy course, but it's actually quite interesting. Sheep are mentioned over 400 times in the Bible. Jesus consistently compares us to sheep, and we actually have a lot in common with sheep, animals that had a lot of value in the first century. Now, what is it? A wool sweater and a lamb chop every once in a while. But back in Jesus's time, back in Moses's time, sheep had a lot of value. And we delve into that value in the course. We delve into why the comparisons between humans and sheep so often. And then we end with a fascinating look at the 23rd Psalm. One of the courses available at Concepts and Clarity. You can visit us at that site.
Did you know?
Let's talk about music. If you've been to any church service, you know that music is an essential part of praise and worship. In fact, the Levites were the tribe of the 12 tribes that were associated with music. They were also the priests. So I don't think it's coincidence that the tribe that was in charge of the religious and spiritual development of the Hebrews was also in charge of music. So when we talk about music, you're talking about people like David. David is known to being a man of God's heart, and David played the lyre. In fact, when Saul, who suffered from various mental illnesses, was having an episode, people called David because David's music calmed him down and put him in a better headspace. So when David was writing the Psalms, he wrote several of them as songs, as musical pieces. And it's that music that goes up to God, that reaches God, and is pleasing to Him when we praise and worship with music. Now, when we talk about music, we can talk about today's guest, Jon Steele. He's not your average musician. Some musicians started as children. Jon actually began songwriting in his teens at the age of 16. But it wasn't until after he spent 10 years in the Air Force that he really gave into his gift for songwriting. He's written songs like In a Soldier's Stance, based on his time in the military. He's also written Christian songs, praise music, and pop and rock as well. So we want to talk to Jon about his journey, his musical journey, his faith journey. And Jon, welcome to the 21st Century Christian.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on the show today.
Thank you. Tell me about how you got started as a musician.
Way back, I listened to classic rock probably back when I was about 2, 3, 4 years old. My parents always had it on, and if I go back to the very beginnings, about 5, 6 years old, I used to take sticks and bang on garbage cans. So back then I figured I would probably that would show I'd be a drummer, which I am today, and then I would make Weird Al Yankovic songs is what I started writing and singing and making fun of other songs is how it started, and then um, that went on, and actually when I released a album about my beginnings, I put about seven, 8 songs from that Weird Al Yankovic where I just sang the lyrics but didn't put no music to it, and I came up with my own ideas of the song, imitated it, and that was about 16, between 12 and 16 years old, and but the album Beginnings of Jon Steele was released in 2020. That showcased my beginnings, and then I also made comical songs up on my own, like Mig the Pig and Presumptive Letsky, Cynical Latsky, where it features me singing and playing drums and writing the lyrics. Those were more comical songs that I feel more um, confident in singing something that would embarrass most people. But I'm the complete opposite when it comes to singing something that's serious, or I, I can't, I seem insecure about singing something more serious. So it's the other way around from other people. But I write serious lyrics and I play drums and guitar. That's been going on since the early 2000s, and the first time I released a CD was on CD Baby in my music in DistroKid back in 2017. And I've worked with, like I said, demo companies at first, and I submitted my lyrics to the demo companies, paid them a fee, and they put a demo to it. And and then I also, like I said, recorded on the comical albums me singing, playing drums and guitar, and of course my serious songs, some more Christian based, but lately I was inspired by um, incidents that occurred within a last 4 or 5 year period, and it made me write some Christian stuff, some more serious stuff towards God, to give him thanks back and to say, hey, this maybe I ought to try this, and I did try to sing one of my songs. It's not recorded in a studio. It sounded pretty decent. I have a video clip of it, but it's not into a professional video or anything. But um, I have a few Christian songs. I have a four. It'll be a 4 track once it's released. It'll be a 4 LP, and I want to create a 10 track Christian album. And a lot of my songs before the Christians, besides the comical, were, like you said, pop, rock, and country. And they were motivational, inspirational songs, like about the Baltimore Ravens, about the band Rush. That inspired me, and a tribute to Rush and Neil Peart when Neil Peart passed away, and um, in a soldier's stance about the military, like you mentioned, universal soldier, power source, about the creative things that could have been true, that probably were true, that happened to me. It was a result of my military career and my my conditions that I face, my health conditions. So I was able to create a lot of life experiences in fitness and exercise and bowling and um, sports that I've been around, things, every type of environment I put myself in, I can write songs about it, whether it's certain people, places, things, whatever it is. And I just put all that spontaneous energy together. And I've created over, right now, I have 138 sets of lyrics, and 100 of them have already been turned into music and put on Spotify, YouTube, DistroKid, CD Baby, and all this. I wanted to say this is a way that I can help logistically sponsor Christianity. I may not have every song being Christian based, and like the comical songs, I don't mean to offend anybody. It's just my part of just my part of being comical, not necessarily to offend anybody. So that part, but I believe all this is a gift, like you mentioned, from God, and the whole idea is to logistically help fund Christianity, especially if I make it, big or whatever in the business. I like to give a big bunch of it back to Christianity, because that's where it came from. That's where all this came from, was, God up above. And this is a way to go. This is a more peaceful career and a more creative career, because I'm good at it. And this is a low stress environment, writing and composing and things like that. It's therapeutic.
Now, what do you think your life would be like without music?
Oh, it wouldn't be the same. I don't know what other ways I would have been able to express myself besides uh, the marching and the military martial arts, but it all coexists with the music. I'm happy that I have music, and blessed that I have music, and I just couldn't picture a life without music. And um, that if I didn't have that side of me, I wouldn't have been able to create all this motivational talk, comical talk, spiritual talk. Um, you know, Even when I worked jobs years ago, when I was in the grocery business and all that, I always played music on midnight turn on the radio, like at Farm Shop and Save Giant Eagle. I would play my own music. It just motivated me. It just wouldn't, where I would be. I can't picture it, because if we didn't have music in our world, I'm not sure where we'd be, where I would be, and where a lot of people would be. I've impacted so many people through the music that I just couldn't picture myself without music.
The reason I ask is because writing is to me what music is to you. I'm a writer, so at my lowest points, I'll get a pen out and I'll just start writing because it's something that speaks to me. It's something I need to do. To what you were saying, I've made people laugh with my writing. I've made people cry with my writing. It's a way of impacting people. And, it's something that's special to me. It's something that's part of who I am. So it's not about, oh, I'm going to write something. It's like sometimes I have to write something, because it's such a part of who I am. And I asked that question to you specifically because my father, his undergrad was in music. when he graduated in the 60s, but he ended up getting a master's in education, and for the last decade of his life, he didn't even listen to music. And so I'm just like, how could something that you've been given, a gift that you've been given, be something you can walk away from? Because I don't see how I could ever walk away from writing. If I never publish anything again, I still have to write. And I would think it's something similar with music, that it's part of who you are.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it's part of who I am, and I couldn't see it going away, and it never will go away. And I'll probably be in music and writing until I'm not here no more. Until always come up with ideas, and the people, places, and things that you're around can will always be creative to write songs about individuals. You never mention their names or anything in the song, but their real names. But people, environments, places, um, writing, composing. It'll be with me till the day I'm not here no more. So, and I hope to leave it to people, to leave my mark, to leave it for people that are in the upcoming generations that'll be here over and over and over, until that trumpet sounds. I way I look at it. So I believe my purpose now is to impact more people, entertain people as much as I can, and like I said, the whole big picture, the gift from God is to give back to God and give it to other people that are need God and Jesus, that haven't found them. And I believe my purpose is a little bit bigger than most people, in the sense that I have a calling now, a huge calling on some experiences that I had, and I'm finding ways to make this mission happen, and give it a shot. So I haven't given up on what me and my pastor agreed on. So um, this is a way that I feel that's a low stress um, career that could turn into a career. And I've been enjoying it, even though I haven't made no money on it. I've been enjoying this for years. I haven't. It's been a good hobby. I've entertained people on my radio show, my independent radio show. So it's not something that, like the leader of Artist First Radio, he says, I don't think it's money making you do this show or keeping it going. It's not what it is. And he says, you just enjoy this. And when I was young, I wanted to be a broadcaster, but I never talked to anybody. And here I um, got a radio show. So I've been with Artist First Radio since 2019. So that was a dream there, put in there, that happened. I mean, it's a part time thing. It's not earning any income, but it was something I wanted to do, and I'm still doing it. So, um, if I make it in, then logistically I'll be able to help fund Christianity more than, when you have your gifts, you try to give back to people. So that's the way I look at it.
And I think when you have a gift and you give it back, people relate to it so much more than how you intended it. Because like you might have a song that you put out there. Maybe the lyrics resonate with some people. Maybe the lyrics don't resonate with people, but people hear your story and they resonate with your story. You never know what people are going to get out of what you have to give. You just have to give it. And
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I think that's part of the reason God gives us talents, is so that we can use them. And not all of us are going to be Mariah Carey or Prince or CCYNs or anybody else. But that doesn't mean that we don't have value because you can still impact and touch lives that you personally touch, that other people might not touch. I mean, we're several steps away from that big person. Nobody, you and I might never meet Taylor Swift, and that's fine, but we do meet people in our own realm, in our own aura, and it might be our role to help them, to touch them with our story and what we're doing. So I appreciate what you've done. And how here's a question. How did the military help you musically?
Oh, in many many ways, it helped me with creative lyrics, marching drum beats. It helped me, like I said, a lot of ideas in my songs. It helped me express exactly what I felt coming out of the military and things that experiences that I wrote about, and that it came to life in a song. And I think I've been through that. So as a student, so to be a teacher, to go out and teach people how the world is, especially younger folks that are in 17, 16, 17, 18, that don't know how the world really functions until they get out of high school and start going into the world. So almost like a teacher, I've learned things from the service, and I believe I've came to something more powerful than the service itself, not intentional, but whatever was caused it to be this way. But like I says, I believe that the military in some ways has caused me to get closer to God and Jesus, even when I was in there, and even outside of there. I give everything back to God, and Jesus says, I don't want this power, I give it back to you. And but I believe in some things, the military has taught me to be creative, has taught me, even I've wrote about songs about martial arts, about exercise, the things that the military teaches you to live in a small space with as less things as possible and as neat as possible, as perfect as possible, and to be ready in a blink of an eye to wake up and be ready for combat right away. 2 seconds, you could be asleep for an hour and have to be ready and not make a mistake. They teach you to be a machine, and that's sort of how I became up with in a soldier stance for near perfection, and taking in the creativity side of the in a soldier stance when I developed my conditions, while I was in the service, the creativity of the events that happened with my condition, like I said, became a more powerful uh, being than what the military was, because you like to be something that's more powerful than yourself. And the creator, the people that I was a student of, I became more powerful than them, but um, I remain under compliancy. So I just just take it as a learning experience and can teach the world what they don't know, especially the younger generation or somebody that's thinking about going in the military, um, what they may endure, what's coming their way. And hopefully most people never have to experience this. I wouldn't want really anybody to, except for the good gifts that Jesus and God had counteracted with it. That's would be the best part. But the stronger you become, a stronger person, the more you endure and endure and endure, the more you keep taking it. You can keep taking anything. And so I've learned from endurance from it, and stamina, and it really shows in my creative style and in the my clearance that I had, the top secret and all that. That tells you that you can see that stuff in my songs, especially the four songs I wrote about: In a Soldier Stance, Universal Soldier, Power Source, and American Johnny. You can see the stuff that happened in those songs. So that those were probably some of my very best songs that I wrote.
Wow. Now, what would you say to a 16-year-old that was just discovering his love and his passion for music? What advice would you have for someone knowing the path that you've walked?
I would say if your mind is minded and heart is in music, um, try to stick with it, even if it's a little bit every day. Um, Find the musicians that influence you from far back as you can remember, and try to get education in lessons into instruments. If you want to be a player, if you want to play songs or go out and play live, learn an instrument, um, keep practicing. Um, find out what find your nick, what you like to write about, what's your niche. Find out what you really like and write about what you really like. Um, and just like I said, if you want to get a demo done and you don't want to perform it yourself, there's demo companies you can research online. And now they're making this artificial intelligence, which I probably wouldn't do, which they can make a song in 5 minutes, this new stuff that came out. But I still stick to the demo company because it's real people. It's real people that make the songs, and you can get together with a band, um, and and if you want to become a professor, go to college and become educated in music. If you want to be a music professor, and if you want to go in the military, maybe thinking about a marching band, playing for the military marching band as your career, or some type of military musicians, bands that play for the soldiers, thinking about that. Or if you want to play for college universities, or think you got to start out and just pick what you liked in your childhood, and just take the music you like, and you'll find the instrument that you like. You just have to experiment with different instruments, or you may already know what instrument you like and what you write about. And I would say to go to a church as well, and definitely at that age, get on the right side of the Lord, and that'll help you. That'll help you with your it'll help bring your talents out and abilities, and things like that. So, and just there's all kinds of things. You can get your songs released on CD Baby, DistroKid, CD Baby, and DistroKid without even having to be famous. You can get songs released even at an early age, and there's fees and everything. All those record producers, you can get your songs on YouTube, Spotify through those releasing through CD Baby and DistroKid. Your music could be put on all those venues through releasing it on those two you know music music publishers, CD Baby and DistroKid, and you can get affiliated with a pro affiliation. That way, if you ever got mechanical royalties or some type of royalties, you'd have a pro affiliation, which makes it legal, like BMI or ASCAP.
Okay.
So there's a lot of education there I could share, which I did. But I would say, you know, your writing will maybe not as advanced at 16 years old, but if in music, but as you age and get more experiences, it'll come because I found out I wasn't. When I look back at it, I didn't have uh, the abilities that I have quite now, like you said, until after the 2009, till I was done with the service. The writing really started kicking in even more and more and more, and I got better and at it. So,
Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more housekeeping, then I'm gonna finish up with the verse, and then John will call it a show.
okay, that sounds good.
Okay, this podcast episode is brought to you by Concepts and Clarity. I'm talking about my sheep course because that was the first course I created, and it's actually a lot of fun. If you purchase the course, I will tell you something in the last episode where we talk about the 23rd Psalm that will make you be like, what? Because I know when I found it out, I was like, what? It's worth it. But we actually have a lot in common with sheep. And in from a 21st century perspective, we think about sheep as what we count when we can't go to sleep, or you might have a wool sweater. It's an insult when people call you sheeple because it means you're a follower. But if you think about it, being a sheeple for Christ is a good thing because we want to be a follower of Christ. So go to conceptsandclarity.com. It's 4 lessons all about those sheep. So see you there. Okay, a verse that I want to talk about today. I kind of touched on it when I did the trivia about the about David being a spiritual leader and also being a musician. If you look at First Samuel 16 verse 23, and whenever the harmful spirit from God was upon Saul, David took the lyre and played it with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the harmful spirit departed from him. So Saul was tormented, and David was able to calm him. And that's the power of music. I watch a lot of dog videos, a lot of animal videos. And I've seen a video recently of a guy who was just strumming a guitar, playing very mellow music. And he was at a zoo. And all of the lions kind of came over and listened. They were like, okay, I like this. And then the female lions are like, okay, I like this. And then all of the animals kind of came over and just listened. And that there shows you the power of music. So First Samuel chapter 16, verse 23 talks about how David used that power to kind of give peace to Saul, whose soul was tormented. So just something to think about. Go ahead and visit Jon Steele over at Spotify, over at YouTube. You can check out the description where you can find more of his music. And I will see you next week where we'll have another guest. We'll have some more trivia. We'll have some more fun. I promise it'll be awesome. So, talk to you then. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.